So I bought something, and I know we're in lockdown at the moment, and I didn't really want to buy anything because I was a little bit worried about warehouses in general and the staff that work in them. So I've had some really like horrible stories come out of like the ASOS warehouse and the Amazon warehouse, and I don't know how true they are, but I've been a bit like, I don't want to put anyone at risk, so I haven't really bought much stuff, and I haven't ordered much stuff to the house either. And then I broke that fairly spectacularly because I bought a soda streamer.
A what?
A soda streamer.
I've always wanted one.
Yes. You're missing your sparkly soda from work, or your sparkling water from work, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, my office is we have sparkling water taps at the office, which I know sounds really fancy.
Because it is.
So fancy.
Because it is.
It's amazing.
And I was just like sitting at my like work from home desk, and I was like, oh, it's like 3:00, and I'd normally like go and either get like a sparkling water and like something from the vending machine, and now I'm just like, oh, now I can just do it myself.
Amazing.
Honestly,
How is it?
It's so much fun. So much fun. Like, we had one when I was a kid in like the 90s. My brother put milk in it once. Just don't. But yeah, now I've got a soda streamer, and I'm really excited about it.
Wow.
I'm so jealous.
No, it makes me feel less bad about the Dick Biscuits then, because that was a totally frivolous, like, put people in danger type purchase. So
No, I don't think so. I think like because that wasn't like not very long ago, and I think right at the beginning, it was like things were a bit like worrying, but like I think they kind of sorted things out. So
I think they have. I know that like stuff are taking longer to arrive, and I think they are being cautious in the warehouses and stuff. I mean, I hope there are. It's really difficult because it's like, you know, you're trying to be like, oh, okay, at the beginning, we're like, okay, it's only a couple of weeks so like, let's just, chill out. It's going to be fine. Do I really need that? No. Okay, just wait a few weeks and you can have it. We're on like week 8. So,
and
you know
I'm
what
like,
I mean?
buy a soda streamer.
I know. Like, it goes out the window. Like,
that soda streamer.
Yeah, exactly. So I just feel like, and, I guess it's keeping people in work and companies going. So that's what I tell myself to sleep at night. It's fine.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Murder Friends, the podcast where 3 friends from 3 different countries talk about murder. My name's Alana, and I'm Canadian.
I'm Anna, and I'm American.
My name's Hannah, and I'm British.
So sit back and relax, you're among friends, and let's talk murder. So what have you guys been up to, if anything, other than the soda streamer?
That's pretty awesome.
Nothing really.
I've been sort of watching some stuff. My husband's been doing loads of DIY, which is great. There's a lot of dust everywhere. So he's really into his cinema, like, thing. You guys know that. You've been over. So he bought himself for his 50th. He got a new projector. And so he finally got that set up and, like, all done. Then he now bought an electric screen. So, like, you just walk into the room and, like, say, turn on projector. And then the electric screen comes down and it turns on. Yeah, so
That's amazing.
But that obviously electric screen needs power source. So that entailed the whole like wall and running cables and fixing. I mean, it looks fine now, but oh dear. Now he did put like subwoofers into our sofas so that when you watch something, they move.
That's incredible.
And then the other thing is he had bought he was changing out all his speakers, like these really nice ones he got himself even before and he hadn't done. So now he's been putting them into the walls. So he like was digging into like the brick wall.
Oh my god.
So he like made himself this tent yesterday because he's like, right, I'm going to have this tent and then I have this like, he has this thing that hooks up to the Hoover. And he's like, well, if I do that, then it won't create so much dust all over. So the whole room won't be covered in dust. Well, guess what? We have 2 Hoovers and he used one of them and it was creating this like back like spray. So I opened the living room door and it was just a pink cloud. And there was a fine line of pink dust all over the entire room. Yeah.
Hope that speaker was worth it.
So Will's not with us anymore, so
She put
Rest
him
in
the
peace.
yeah. It was fun. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, he did stay up and he cleaned the whole thing, obviously. But yeah, no, I'm still finding pink dust in the odd place. But anyway, so that's how lockdown is going for me at the moment. How about you guys?
Talking about dickhead husband behaviour. I'm joking, I love him very dearly. My husband bought, he decided that he had a monitor downstairs that he was using for like working from home, and he decided that he wanted a different monitor. So he bought a 34-inch curved gaming monitor.
Oh wow. That's huge.
It's first off, it's fucking massive. Second off, I can't be angry at it because it looks really cool. And I desperately wanted to be angry about it. Like, part of me was like, that's a waste of money. I mean, it was some money. And I was just like, oh, I just really want to be mad at it. And I can't because it's just so cool. It's just so cool. It's like ultra wide, like gaming, like curve. It's really nice.
That's incredible.
Not that I'll ever tell him that.
Yeah. Your secret, save with us. All of us.
All of us.
All of us. That's good. Well, yeah, it says the thing is, I'm ragging on Will for making a mess, basically. But it is cool when it's all done. So it is a good experience, and it's nice to watch films and stuff. But still, I think
it's like
when
having
you're
a cinema at home, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, I think because you're in close quarters for, going on weeks and weeks and weeks, you're like, okay, really, like everything starts to, bother you, I guess. Eliana, what have you been up to?
Nothing, really. We had like a wind ice kind of storm, which is really exciting because I fucking hate it here. And the power went out, so it's like, okay, that happens. And we had a really bad power outage one time at Christmas, so my parents were like, never again. We've got this generator outside, and you hook up like it can handle a certain amount of things. So like the microwave is hooked up, and the fridge, and lights and heating and all the rest of it. And so the power goes out, and then the generator comes on, so the lights are back on. I'm like, okay, this is doable, like it's fine. And I'll just give the Wi-Fi a minute to like reset itself. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's taken quite a long time. So I get out of my my nest that I've made myself, and I go into the little office that my parents have. And my mom's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I need to reset the router because it's not coming back on. And she's like, well, it won't come back on because the internet's not connected to the generator. And I was like, I'm sorry, what?
What?
What are the words that you were saying? You're saying the internet's not connected to the generator? She's like, no, you're just gonna have to use your like data if you need to do anything. I was like, well, I don't have data because I have a stupid English phone. So what do I do? And she's like, well, you're just gonna have to find something else to do. So honest to God, it was only off for like 4 or 5 hours, but it was the longest 4 or 5 hours of just no internet, nothing. So I got into bed and I took a nap, and I listened to, thankfully I had one Dateline podcast downloaded, because of course I couldn't download any podcasts. I couldn't listen to anything that wasn't downloaded. So I had one Dateline podcast downloaded, so I got into bed and I listened to that, and I had a nap, and then by the time I woke up it was back on. So that's kind of that's what's happening over here lately.
I remember though you telling us the story about the generator.
Yeah, we lost power for like 5 days in the middle of like Christmas time. It was -30. We had no heat. It was really traumatic. And also another thing, I don't know if this is common in England, but our house has a well for the water, like a cistern and a well like tank under the house. So we support our own water and whatever. But for some reason it stopped working on like Friday, like late afternoon, and it was like nobody can flush the toilets, so just hold tight. And we had to call like an emergency plumber, and they're like, yeah, we're only coming out to like absolute emergencies because of everything going on. And we're like, we literally can't shit, so can you come help us, please?
That's an emergency, seriously.
In a course of like a couple days, we lost power, got it back, thankfully, and then our water wasn't working, and I think it was off for like 24 hours. Finally they got it fixed, and now, fingers crossed, nothing else can go wrong.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. Okay, see, but you don't realize, like, how much, like, with the internet, our lives revolve around the internet now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, well, it's been, again, my husband's really into this, and I think yours is too, Hannah. All of our stuff is connected to Alexa as well throughout our house, like, to turn stuff on.
I don't know that.
Did you
just pipe up in the background?
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you right now.
Not right now. Sorry, I just said her name. Yeah, so, like, that goes off, and you're like, I can't turn the lamp on.
That's the one thing that annoys me about the Alexa controlling things in our house is the lights. And because she has this issue with our, like, lounge light. And sometimes she's like, yeah, fine, I'll turn it off when you ask me. And sometimes she just doesn't fucking bother. And then you have to, like, walk over to the light switch, which I understand is, like, what normal people do. And actually physically turn it off. And it's like, what is this button for now?
Yeah, like, I forgot how to.
It's just like, oh. Or sometimes I, like, leave the room and, like, just automatically, like, go to hit, a light switch. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to have to turn it back on and then ask the fucking machine to turn it back off and then on again just so it works. And it's just like, just to turn the light off, it's just so annoying.
I know. I feel you. So what are you guys watching right now? So in case anybody needs things that maybe aren't even like true crime, just like, or reading or anything that we can give people suggestions, including myself, because I'm in need.
I am fully invested in the third season of Killing Eve. Oh my goodness, hell yeah, so good. And
is it good? I haven't started it yet.
Oh my goodness, I finally got my parents to start it from the beginning, because it's absolutely a show you have to watch, obviously, in order and everything.
Yeah,
but yeah, one of the best shows in the last few years. And so Killing Eve is on my list right now, and I know Dateline just released their new podcast, Motive for Murder, which is following one case, kind of like the thing about Pam that we talked about before. So Motive for Murder is out now. I don't think they're dropping all the episodes at once, which is really annoying. But I've already downloaded it. I've got it all set up. In case there's ever a power outage, I've got my Motive for Murder ready to go.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm going to start that soon.
Cool. I think we'll probably review that, won't we? Because they're usually pretty good podcasts, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like maybe we'll do that in a future episode. I've already listened to the first 2 episodes, so I'm on it. And I think I saw you might have been diving into some Lord of the Rings on social the other day.
Sometimes, it's one of those nights where I think, could I watch something new? Probably. Could I watch Lord of the Rings for the 50th time? Yes, I could. And it was one of those nights.
Nice. It's like a comfort watch. You guys have comfort watches that you can just put on?
Yeah.
You're kind of like fiddling, doing something else in the background, but you have it on. It's like there, It's not going to surprise you.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of watching like films over and over again, but I will watch Lord of the Rings like 1,000 times, and I will watch the Harry Potter films 1,000 times, and I will watch my guilty pleasure of You've Got Mail.
Oh yes. I'm When Harry Met Sally. That's my one.
I don't know why I love that film so much. I just love it. It makes me cry every time, and I don't know why.
I love this about you.
This is like, it's so not me.
No, it isn't.
No.
But like, oh man, I fucking love that film.
That's hilarious. I love that. I'm not a rom-com person either, but I do love. There's like When Harry Met Sally. That was my one. My You've Got Mail, and I'll put on. But I'm like, normally, like, I don't like stereotypical chick films. I'm like, give me murder, give me like a good spy film, a drama, anything like that. I don't know, something, just not that. So what have you been watching, Hannah?
I watched an Anna recommendation.
Oh.
I watched War of the Worlds.
And
you were right about the end.
Okay. Yes.
Oh my god. I've never like shouted at the TV like that
I know.
before.
Same.
The ending was just like,
what?
The fuck?
What?
What? I was like that meme that's like,
Yeah.
No, it was really good though. Really, really good. Because like, it wouldn't be something that we would normally pick to watch.
No.
And then you said it was good, and Will said it was good as well, and we were like, oh, yeah, okay.
You really only watched it because Will said it was good. Let's face it. I know. I get what's going on here.
I think James was like, well, if Will said it was good, I'll watch it.
See, I knew it.
Romance.
Yeah, it is well done, though, isn't it? I'm excited because
so
they are
good.
going to do another series.
They have to do another series. Just to explain that sodding ending.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right.
But no, I found it really gripping, and we were watching episodes, and they're quite long. And we were watching one, and then all of a sudden you're at the end of the episode, and you're like, what, how is it over already? That's really silly. But that's how good it is. It really keeps you focused. And normally I watch, I'll flick around on my phone, or I'll do something else while the TV's on. But with this, everything was just down and off, and I was just fully focused. So yeah, really, really good. War of the Worlds. Really enjoyed that one.
Cool.
Nice one.
That actually, the girl in it, her name is, she's the one that is blind in War of the Worlds. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So Daisy Edgar something, I think. I can't think of her name. I apologize. The actress in that. So I watched a show called Normal People. It's on BBC Three or Hulu in the States. I don't know what it would be on in Canada, if it's available in Canada yet. But that was so good. She's a fantastic actress. I think she's going to go places. We're going to see her in more and more stuff, I think, in the future, because she's really good.
Yeah, she's brilliant in it, actually.
Yeah, she's great. So I think she's definitely one to watch. And I really enjoyed her in Normal People. It's a book. It's Sally Rooney. And it's an adaptation to the book, and it was really good. Great. In fact, I might watch it again.
Oh, wow.
I know. That's how much I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. So I was like, I feel like I got to watch it again. It's a very the acting is just unbelievable. The two actors, her being one of them. There's not this massive plot. It is kind of just about, again, it's not my typical thing, but if you actually watch it, it's not sappy at all, but it's about a first love when they meet in school, and then it goes through the years. And the acting it's very relatable, because they, it goes through all these different stages, and you can kind of relate to them all. And I think the acting was brilliant. So if I recommend that one. That's my recommendation for this episode.
Nice. So for true crime news this week, I wanted to start on something that's a little bit nice, something just a little bit positive. So I think on our last full episode, I was talking about how Canada has had its worst mass shooting in Nova Scotia just a couple weeks ago in April. That's when the gunman basically went around dressed as an RCMP officer, a police officer, and he killed a load of people, and it was absolutely horrific. So the one bit of good news is that Prime Minister Trudeau says the federal government is banning about 1,500 different types of assault-style military-grade guns with an order that takes effect immediately. So it's this bad thing happened, and they're like, yeah, okay, banned on these 1,500 different types of models. So these firearms are banned for use, sale, import, or transport anywhere in Canada effective immediately. They were talking about that there would be some sort of buyback program, but that has to be made into a bill. So they have to get the different parties to vote on it and stuff. But at the very least, they have this immediate ban on these assault weapons. And it actually made me feel a little bit patriotic. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I don't know if many Canadians
That's
are
great.
super patriotic, but he was talking about Trudeau in his speech that these weapons were designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. There is no use and no place for such weapons in Canada. We can stick to thoughts and prayers alone, or we can unite as a country and put an end to this. And it just I don't know, it felt really nice, in the wake of everything that's happening.
I think that's amazing. I think it really is. It reminds me of the firearm ban in the UK after, oh crap, what was it called?
It was the school one, wasn't it?
The school massacre, the Dunblane school massacre. And after that, there was a ban on handguns. I mean, the gun regulation in the UK is pretty strict anyway. Obviously, we don't have like accessibility to them like the US and Canada does have, even the restricted ones that now Canada has. But since there was this really, really traumatic, really horrific school massacre in 1996, and then they banned handguns after that in the UK. So that's it shows you that, you know, tragedies do occur, but you need to act on them.
Yeah. They did it recently in New Zealand. The Prime Minister, I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. I should know this.
Something.
Yeah, she
Ardern?
did this. Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. She did the same thing after the shooting there. Was it a year or two ago? I think they did the same thing. I'm sad because I just obviously it will never happen in America. I don't think, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But I'm glad. Obviously, Canada. I mean, it's right. It's like I just can't understand why you need this. Like,
Yeah,
why do you need an
access to those
AR-15?
firearms? Yeah.
Why? Like, you're not hunting. You're not, not to get all political or anything, but I agree. I think that's amazing. I was really, really happy to see that in the news.
Yeah. The downside, I guess, I mean, it's ridiculous. Okay, I don't think any of my family members listen to this podcast, so I'm going to tell this story, and just don't tell them that I've told you guys. But,
again, your secret's safe with all of us.
yeah.
This is a secrets podcast now.
My mom was saying on Facebook, so she is the prime age to be using Facebook. She's got all of our like extended family on Facebook, and she keeps in contact with like cousins and aunts and uncles and like the whole bit of it. Anyway, she was saying someone in our family who will remain unnamed posted a petition saying it was against their rights for these weapons ban, and like Trudeau is like taking away our rights and stuff, and so they were posting this petition and like getting their friends to sign it and stuff, and I was like, oh man, that's really embarrassing. I'm so
Don't do
sorry.
that.
Like,
No.
yeah, I mean, thankfully he just outright banned them. Because there are people in Canada who think, you know, it's gone against their rights and whatever, but I mean, I doubt it would ever get overturned at this point. So that's one little bit of good news as we slide into another depressing story, but it's, I guess, also kind of good. Lots of things are changing right now, but as it stands in this very moment, Alma Dobry, if you guys have heard of him in Georgia.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So thankfully, his murder trial will go to a grand jury, according to a district attorney. So for people who don't know, Aubrey, 25, which just very upsetting.
Yeah, I think his birthday was this week, wasn't it? He was due to like turn 26.
God.
Such a baby.
Yeah, it's just, what a deeply upsetting story. But he was jogging in a neighborhood in Georgia back in February, like literally just jogging. I mean, give him a round of applause. I've jogged twice since I've been in quarantine, and we've been in here for like 6 months. He was chased down by a former police officer and his son, which also makes me really sad. Like the son, you know, like if your dad, I don't know. Anyway, so
Yeah.
the two of them chase him down, shoot, and kill him. They originally were saying, well, he looked like a suspect that was doing recent break-ins, or he looked like he was a robber, like that kind of stuff. At least that was the original story. I don't know if that will change. There was a cell phone video taken, which I have not watched, and I don't want to watch that, but it is out there.
I watched it. I did watch it. It's, yeah, horrible. Sad.
So it was only posted recently online by a local radio station. Like they actually got the footage and posted it. So even though this was back in February and nothing had came of it, which is deeply upsetting, that at least now when the video went out and the story went viral, basically people were like, how could there not be any arrests or anything happening? Like it's now late April, early May. So thankfully, as of very recently, his trial will go to a grand jury. So something is happening, but yeah, what a bummer.
It's like really, cause especially, well, it's made like worldwide headlines. It's a big thing, and it's especially in America, it's huge right now, going like seeing all the social media of like friends back home and stuff, and that's what all everyone's talking about. And then somebody I just saw, actually not long before we were podcasting, there's like somebody's already set up a group that has 20,000 members that says justice for, I can't even remember their names, the two guys that are now going to jail.
The father and son?
The father and the son, yeah, justice for them, that they were just, that apparently the boy should have just, and it says it in the description, it was like justice for them, whatever their names are. And then it was like, well, they were just protecting their neighborhood, and the boy should have just followed simple commands. And you're like,
no, they weren't. They weren't protecting the neighborhood at all. Like, if you see someone running through your neighborhood and you're like, oh, that looks like the bloke who potentially has been burgling properties in the area, then you phone the fucking police.
I know.
You don't go and chase them down, beat the shit out of them, and then shoot them at point blank range. That's bullshit. That's just pure white people being fucking trash.
Exactly.
That's what that is. That's white supremacist. It's disgusting.
It is disgusting. And I've seen the video, and they are like jump in the back of a truck, like pure redneck style, jump in the back with shotguns in the back, and they're like chasing him down. And you can see obviously somebody. Yeah. It was like unbelievable, and the guy was actually trying, like he was like fighting him off. Like they just sort of like came upon him. He's just, can you imagine? Just you have your headphones in, you're just out jogging, and you're like startled all of a sudden because these people with guns have now like.
Attack you. Yeah.
It's like, well, what right do you have? It's like they didn't follow simple. What commands? Like, who are you to command me to do anything? I'm just out. The whole thing is just unbelievable, and I'm really glad that I don't know how they got the footage and what had to happen. Apparently, wasn't he he was previously a police officer. I think that's probably why they are saying he got away with it.
The father was a former police officer and maybe thought that he had the right to do what he did. Because, you see something that's suspicious, call the cops. Like,
like an on-duty cop.
Not you.
Someone who's trained.
Yeah.
Recently trained,
And
up to date with what to do in that situation, rather than just being, frankly, a disgusting racist murderer.
Yeah.
Oh,
is my opinion.
Sorry, we're getting very, very politically charged in this.
I had to pick the political ones. Although, next up, and the last thing I promise, is just a very brief Laurie Corner. Dateline released a updated episode about Laurie Vallow, or Laurie Daybell, or however you want to call her, the mom who will not produce her two children, and they've been missing since September. So Dateline originally did an episode, and then this is kind of like the update version. There wasn't too much in it that was new. I think we already spoke about quite a lot of it. I guess one of the main things is that Laurie is facing felony child desertion charges and various other demeanors. The nice thing with being in Ontario is my dad now tapes all of the Dateline episodes, and I can't really watch them in England. I just listen to the podcast. So thankfully I watched this episode visually because, oh my God, it's so confusing. There are so many people and like so many people have died and then remarried to this new person who was married to this person and then they died, and like a lot of stuff. One of the things that stuck out for me from the new update was that they speak with Colby Ryan, who is Laurie's eldest son. And he was so sweet and just saying, like, I don't understand, like, how this can happen and how you could not know where the kids are, how you can say where the kids are. Like, he was very sweet. And they spoke with Laurie's friend from Hawaii. I couldn't catch her name, the Mormon friend, who was quite nice. And she talks about how there was a real change in Laurie after she met her new husband, Chad, and she became like way more extreme and everything. And she talks about how Laurie came to save her at one point, and she was like, no, like, I'm not coming with you, but thanks for thinking of me, kind of thing. So yeah, it's worth a watch or a listen if you're interested in the case. Not a whole lot of new stuff, but it's still very interesting. And I guess the biggest thing is they do talk about how Laurie and Chad believed in zombies and that people could be possessed by zombies. And there is one account of someone close to the family saying that Laurie and Chad believed that the two children were now zombies. and like you kill people that become zombies and stuff. So that was pretty sad.
The kids are definitely not with us any longer, I don't think.
No, it's just whether you can find them.
I know, it's horrible. But they think the end of the world is like the 22nd of July?
Yeah, might not be wrong.
I know. Well, the way things are going, if I'm honest. Yeah. It was interesting to listen to because we sort of read articles, like this information has sort of like trickled out about the zombie stuff and like them talking to different ones. But it was very interesting hearing from her other son, who was just like, this is crazy. What, like, I don't understand. It sounds like hearing them talk about how she changed, like that she just maybe like late, it's almost like this like late onset schizophrenia, like later in life, that because of some of the ideations and stuff like that. But then how do you then meet other people, like a husband who is the same way or thinks the same thing? I don't know. So maybe it isn't that. It's just I can't understand what's going on there. It's crazy.
Or some like serious brainwashing.
Yeah, or some serious brainwashing. And like because like if you just, that is kind of like a typical thing that might happen when that, with especially with like God, and like they'll have those sort of change in behavior. But yeah, just to find an actual group of people to support these thoughts is just like mind-boggling. But I don't know, hopefully we one day get an answer. For those grandparents.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was devastating.
They also speak with Laurie's niece Melanie and her new husband, and that was kind of enraging because basically Keith was like, well, what do you think happened? We haven't seen these kids in like 9 months. What could have happened? And Melanie's like, oh, well, we shouldn't speculate. We should wait till she gets a fair trial. And
I want to punch her in the face.
Yeah, I love Laurie and I'll support her. And Keith was like, girl, really? Are you sure you want to say that? Like, it was, she was a bit rage-inducing. But I guess we'll just wait and see what happens. And of course, with like the virus and stuff impacting trials, it might not be for quite a while until we actually get any details. But yeah, it's definitely worth a listen to on the podcast if you're interested in the case.
All right, so today we're going to talk about the podcast Fake Heiress from BBC Radio 4. So have you guys listened to it, first of all? Or some of it?
Yes, but it was a while ago.
Okay.
I tried, and I tapped out.
Okay. Which I think I know why.
Omens.
Obviously, Alana loved it. So anyway, so it's a 6-part podcast, and it covers the rise and fall of Anna Delvey. And she conned New York high society into believing that she was a multimillionaire heiress. The podcast is produced by journalist Vicky Baker and playwright Chloe Moss, and they sort of dig deeper into the scandal. So the podcast is partly a narrative of the story and partly dramatized, and I think maybe that's where it would have like turned some people off. To be honest, I originally found this kind of like really off-putting as well, but I was kind of interested in the story because I'd seen this in the headlines, but I didn't know a lot about it, so I sort of stuck with it. And actually, after the first couple of episodes, I did actually enjoy it, and it kind of worked with the story. But I don't normally like sort of fictionalized podcasts or radio shows. That's just not my thing at all. But I will talk about the story a little bit. Anna Sorokin, that's her legal name, was born in a town in southeast of Moscow in 1991. She was one of 2 children in the family. Her father worked as a truck driver, while her mother owned a small convenience store before becoming a housewife. The family then moved to Germany in 2007 when Anna was 16. She graduated from high school and then moved to London to attend Central St. Martin's Art School, but in the end she didn't attend and returned to Germany. She eventually moved to Paris on an internship for the French magazine Purple. And that's sort of like the time that she started to call herself Anna Delvey. I guess she thought it sounded posh. So the next few years of her life are a little bit hazy, so there's not a lot out there about what she was exactly up to, but she emerges into New York's social scene. By 2013, she was a Fashion Week regular and attended all the best parties. Many people's accounts of her were that she was not very nice or charming or like not that this matters, but particularly good looking. So I think a lot of accounts of like interviews you hear, they're all like, I don't really know how she got where she was because there was nothing particularly remarkable about her or, interesting. Appealing. There we go.
Yeah.
I mean that in a, I don't know, a nice way. So all that mattered was that she always made sure she was in the right place, wearing the right clothes, and appearing to spend the right amount of money. So she had invented a fake life for herself as a German heiress who was from a mega rich family. It was due to come into $67 million, a trust fund, on her 26th birthday. So she begins like living in these expensive hotels in New York and came up with a business idea of the Anna Delvey Foundation. And it was going to be a gallery and like a studio space with restaurants, bars, that sort of thing. So this is when she began going after investors and attempting to secure a $22 million loan for her business idea. Out of desperation, she created fake financial advisors, solicitors. She used burner phones and fake emails. She did not manage to secure the loan in the end, but she did actually manage to scam a bank out of $100,000.
Wow.
I know, it's quite wild. I won't go into like exact details on how she did it because, I mean, you listen to the podcast, but it was quite wild. Like, it was this whole podcast, I felt anxious. Tell me, because it was like it was always going to fail, and I don't know how she slept at night. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was giving me anxiety. While she was attempting to secure a loan, she was staying at expensive hotels in New York and would run up bills without payment, and then turn to like friends. Like, she didn't have a lot of like really good friends, but she would like or acquaintances and try to get them to help her pay. Like she'd get caught at a hotel and they would demand payment, and then she'd call somebody up crying, trying to get like $30,000 out of them.
Wow,
it was wild. I know.
Having friends like that.
I know. One of her biggest cons was with Rachel Deloach Williams. It was a photo editor at Vanity Fair who did consider herself an actual friend. Anna suggested they go to an all-expenses-paid holiday to Morocco and booked a $7,000 per night villa. She managed to get Williams to book the flights, and as they were in Morocco, there came a point where the staff didn't actually have a card paying for the accommodation, and then she convinced Williams to use her card, and she would transfer the money back. In the end, of course, she never paid back any of the money, and Williams was saddled with the debt, $60,000 worth of debt for that one trip.
God.
It was horrendous. Like, just listening to it, you're just like, oh. But then, I just can't. Like, how did she sleep at night? Like, how was she going to get away with all these things? Like, she'd get herself in these situations where she would run up these huge bills, and then they would have her, like, well, how are you going to pay for this? And then she'd find a way out of it. Anna's world eventually came crashing down after she was arrested for not paying a restaurant bill, and the police began to catch onto her unpaid hotel bills as well. She was outed in a New York Post article. So obviously then her scam was like really up. So she was still trying to chase getting this loan and starting this foundation, etc. So she kind of went on the run a little bit, and she ended up in Promises in Malibu, which is like a fancy rehab center like a lot of celebrities go to. It's really expensive. Don't know how she actually managed to pay her way into that or get into it. A lot of the stuff, like, they weren't even sure how she got away with, and it was still kind of a mystery. It's just amazing. Like, and actually, Rachel Deloach Williams helped them lure her from Promises, because they can't actually really go in there and arrest her because it's kind of conflict, like just difficult with the whole thing of being in a rehab center. They were able to arrest her then, and they extradited her back to New York where she stood trial. So on April 25th, 2019, a jury found Sorokin guilty of second-degree larceny, theft of services, and one count of first-degree attempted grand larceny. She was found not guilty of another charge of attempted grand larceny in the first degree for trying to get the $22 million. They did try to get her on theft of the Morocco trip, that $60,000. But I think she didn't end up having to pay it. But she said it was for like 2 years of her life. It was like really stressful because she couldn't even afford. Some of it was on her work, like American Express. And she just got royally screwed over. Like, she just got completely screwed over. But she ended up not having to pay it, and she was able to, because basically said she was kind of stuck in this situation and kind of forced to give this card. So it was almost like a like under duress. She was made to pay for it, sort of thing. So on May 9th, 2019, Sorokin was given a sentence of 4 to 12 years in a state prison. She was fined $24,000 and ordered to pay restitution of about $200,000. After serving her sentence, she would then be deported back to Germany. So at the moment, there's currently HBO have a deal to do a story on it. I think maybe that is going to be more of a documentary, and there's like a Netflix series in the works, which I think will be more of a fictionalized one. So I guess she's kind of getting what she always wanted, the fame and money. But then I wonder how it's going to be, because I wonder if any like Son of Sam laws come into play with that, because it's a crime, you're not profiting off of it, or how that works. I think even people did actually bring that up. They were complaining about the fact that, okay, she's getting all these like deals and stuff, but should she?
Yeah. I mean, if it's biographical, could that skirt around it?
I mean, it's certainly a story that would definitely work for Netflix or HBO. Like, it's outrageous and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. So the podcast, like, it was okay. And like I said, I'm not normally into the dramatization. I kind of got used to it, and it wasn't so bad in the end. It wouldn't be my first choice of like things. I think you guys kind of feel the same about those sort of podcasts. But I actually thought, I kind of listened to it, and there's short episodes. And I think I listened to it in the beginning of quarantine, like just cleaning the house, and I listened to it in about 2 days. It's like an easy listening. So if you want something that's like not too, gruesome or anything like that, it's very obviously like the white collar crime. And although, like I said, she was giving me anxiety because I don't know how she just kept all of like her plate spinning without having a nervous breakdown.
I had one note for that, and that was I wrote, Anna Delvey is the epitome of big dick energy. Like, she had some
serious big dick energy,
serious balls.
Yes,
to do that, unless she believed that, unless she actually was, delusional and believed that she was entitled to this money that she was trying to get loaned to her. I don't know, but she's. The whole story is bananas. But I really didn't like the dramatization.
Yeah.
And I would have preferred it if it was just straight journalism.
Same.
So maybe the Netflix or the HBO thing will be more suited.
Yeah. What would you guys rate it out of 5? Hannah?
I gave it a 1.5.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
okay.
hello.
So.
And Alana, you'd probably
I listened to the first about 5 minutes. I really didn't give it a chance at all, but I was really in the mood for like a typical like actual story. And when they started like doing the dramatization, I was like,
oh no,
this is gonna be a hard no for me. Sorry.
Okay. And I think I would give it 2.5. I didn't mind it. I actually, maybe it was just because, I was in the mood for something just a little bit easier to listen to. So maybe it just hit me at the right time, I guess. But yeah, I didn't mind it. But I'm with you. I think if people listening, if you do enjoy, you don't mind the mix of the two, fine, you might like it. If you're like us and you just prefer the like a regular, straightforward, like journalistic style of narrative, then it wouldn't be for you.
Definitely. I listened to an episode, there's a podcast called Sinisterhood. I don't know if either of you listen to it.
Mm-mm.
And it's 2 women, and they do they talk about things like the Loch Ness Monster, and they do like Anna Delvey, and they do serial killers and things like that. It's really good. Like, it's a very funny podcast. Like, they work really well together, and they did an episode on this, and it's brilliant. It really is good. It's about like an hour long, and I would actually really like strongly recommend that, because it gives you like, it's really, really well researched as well. So they give you like all the information in like a timeline, and then they like discuss points of it. So yeah, I would definitely head over to Sinisterhood and listen to that rather than sit through that.
Okay, you know what?
BBC 4 Nightmare.
I love it. Again, guys, if you want to just send any recommendations our way to Slate during this quarantine,
we're having a bad run.
We are having a bad run just lately. Saws. Yeah, I'm gonna note that down, because I wouldn't mind listening to like a really good, like, just straightforward story
Timeline of it.
Yeah, there you go.
Good. It's a good podcast overall, though. I really enjoy it. They talk about aliens and ghosts.
Ooh.
And there's nothing I like more than ghosts.
Weird Crime Time.
All right, so today for Weird Crime Time, I'm just going to dive straight into this headline. It's not a Florida man. We got a Kansas man today.
Oh.
And he was caught driving a stolen SUV on way to bail out brother who was arrested in stolen SUV.
Oh my God.
So apparently the apple doesn't fall far from the tree in this family. So a Kansas man was arrested last week driving a stolen SUV to bail out his brother who had been jailed hours earlier for stealing a separate SUV, authorities say. The first sibling, caught early Friday, was 36-year-old Eric Dean McCracken. That is a great name. McCracken. He was arrested for driving a Chevy Trailblazer. This is... Sorry, my cat. He's just sitting here staring at me, rubbing his head on... Go away.
He's helping.
We've got a new podcast member.
I know. He's standing at me,
cool.
like he's talking into the microphone and he keeps like rubbing his head on it.
He's got opinions.
Okay. He was arrested for driving a Chevy Trailblazer with a suspended license. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. Police said that they later learned that the SUV had been reported stolen. Hours later, his younger brother, 32-year-old Keith Ray McCracken, again, great name, was arrested after leading deputies on a short chase in a stolen 2015 Chevy Silverado on his way to the jail to bail out his brother. So, yeah, and I really, I'm going to post on social media the pictures of these brothers, and yeah.
It's pretty sweet. He's trying to help his brother out by committing a crime that the brother then also did.
Yeah. You just feel like maybe take a taxi. If you don't have a car, just take a taxi.
Yeah. Or just get someone else to do it.
Or walk there.
Just walk, yeah.
Just walk. He might have to sit there
push
a little
bike.
Yes, push bike. Anything. Yeah, so that just leads me. I mean, what would you do for your sibling?
Not that.
Well, I've got 3 siblings. So, realistically, if one of them was in prison, one of the other 2 could just go and sort them out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you really don't like to drive, so you're fine.
No, I would. I do love all of them very deeply. But, if you're stupid enough to get caught, then it's your own fault. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're like, you can sit there for a while.
You can just sit there and think about what you've done. Shame on the family name.
Take the bus.
Yeah, just get an Uber.
Get an Uber.
I don't special.
They don't strike me as a sort of the types to have the Uber app downloaded to their phone. Come on, Atlanta, what would you do?
Oh, I don't know. I might call somebody else. Say, hey, could you go down to the police station for me, please? Technically, I can drive in Ontario. I still have my UK driving license. But I haven't driven on the right side of the road in years. And even just getting in the car now and sitting on the wrong side of the vehicle and being a passenger, it makes me so clammy. So I think if I had to drive to the police station, I would probably die and I would take innocent people with me. So
do you find yourself whenever you go back home to visit, do you find yourself getting in the wrong, going to get in the wrong side of the car? Yeah. And then they make that stupid joke oh, you're driving? Or okay, yeah, I get it.
You're like, haha, lol.
Yeah, great. Okay,
funny the first
time. I haven't heard
time.
that before. I know. It's such a dad joke to make,
What would you do, Anna?
I dearly love my brother, but I don't think I would get myself in jail with him. It's hey, we can do this together now. No, we can't. Mm-mm. No, I think you're right. I think I would. I don't know. I would just be can I just bank transfer it from home with my app? And then we can let him out and then
PayPal a bail.
Can I PayPal this?
Oh, can you do that?
Can I do that? Because that's what I do. I will
Apple
PayPal
Pay?
it. Apple Pay, come on.
Yeah, great.
I just got to double tap and then hold my phone up to my face.
Yeah, just see my face. Ding.
Bail posted.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, well, sorted. Okay, so I think it's all we have for today. Check out our website, murderfriends.com. You can email us at murderfriendspod@gmail.com, Instagram, murderfriendspod, and Twitter, murderfriendspd. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.